There are only 4 ways anyone on this planet makes money: employee, self-employed, business owner, and investor. And right now, without even knowing it, you're living inside one of them. 2 of these quadrants will quietly keep you working forever. The other 2 are how people actually become free. Before we get into the 4 quadrants, I want to tell you a story, because once you understand this story, everything else explains itself. 2 guys, Ed and Bill, live in a village with no water. The elders hire both of them to solve the problem. Ed doesn't waste a second. He buys 2 buckets and starts running to the lake and back, morning to sunset, every single day. Hard work, good money. The village is happy. Ed is happy. Bill disappears. Nobody sees him for months. Ed is thrilled. Less competition for him. Then one day, Bill comes back with a construction crew, and they start building a pipeline straight from the lake to the village. Bill's water runs day and night. It's cleaner, and it costs a fraction of what Ed charges. The village switches over almost overnight. Ed panics. He buys more buckets. He hires his sons. He works nights and weekends, but you cannot out-hustle a pipeline with a bucket. That's just math. Meanwhile, Bill takes his pipeline idea to other villages, then cities. He earns a small amount from every drop delivered, but billions of drops move through his pipes every single day. He earns money while he sleeps, while he's on vacation, while he's having dinner with his kids. Ed works his whole life and ends up with nothing to show for it. Bill builds once and gets paid for decades. Here's the part people miss, though. For the first 2 years, Ed was actually ahead. He had more cash in his pocket every single week than Bill, who was out there spending his own savings on pipes and construction crews with zero income coming in. If you'd asked the village who was winning back then, everyone would have said Ed. That's the trap. The bucket always looks like it's winning early on because it pays you today. The pipeline looks like it's failing right up until the moment it isn't. So here's the question for you. Are you building a pipeline, or are you carrying buckets? Your job is a bucket. Your paycheck is a bucket. And there's nothing shameful about that. We all need buckets to survive. I used to resent mine. I'd come home exhausted and angry at my job, like it was the villain standing between me and the life I wanted. I was wrong. My job wasn't the problem. It was what fed me while I quietly built something else. So if you're carrying a bucket right now, don't hate it. It's buying you time. Just don't confuse carrying it faster with actually getting free. The moment you stop carrying, the water stops. That brings us to the real question. Where do you build your pipeline? To answer that, we need the map. Picture 2 lines crossing, making 4 boxes. On the left, employee and self-employed. On the right, business owner and investor. Each one is basically its own country, with its own language and its own values. Let me show you what I mean. Employee. Picture a nurse or a software developer, someone skilled and respected. The employee trades hours for a paycheck, and what they value above everything else is security. Listen to an employee talk for 5 minutes and you'll hear it. I just want something stable. I'm looking for good pay and solid benefits. If you've ever said that, you're standing in this quadrant. And look, there's nothing wrong with it. It's honest work, and some of the hardest working people I know are employees. I was one for years. But here's the catch. Your entire income depends on one single source. One employer, one decision made by someone else in a meeting you're not even in. If that goes away, your income goes with it. And here's the part nobody explains properly. The employee earns first, then the government takes its share, and only after that do you get to decide what happens with what's left. Between income tax and every other deduction, a big chunk of your paycheck is already spoken for before it even hits your account. It's not a conspiracy, it's just the order of operations. Earn, then get taxed, then spend whatever's left over. Self-employed. A lot of people spot the problem with Quadrant 1, so they make a move. They quit, go out on their own, become their own boss. Sounds like freedom, right? Except most of them just traded one trap for a bigger one. As an employee, you had one job. Now you've got 10. Sales, admin, delivery, all of it, and nobody taught you any of it. Think of the freelancer, the consultant, the shop owner working harder than they ever did as an employee, earning decently but completely wiped out. This is Ed with his buckets. Listen to a self-employed person and you'll hear, if you want it done right, do it yourself, or nobody does it better than me. The second you actually believe that, you've built a cage, not a business. You can never step away because the moment you stop showing up, the income stops too. Picture the consultant who finally books a 2-week trip after years of non-stop work. She lands, checks her messages out of habit, and her stomach drops. 3 clients need answers only she has. She spends her vacation answering emails from a hotel lobby and comes home more drained than when she left. She didn't build a business. She built a very demanding boss, and that boss is her. Most self-employed people end up working more hours than they ever did as an employee, for a similar cut once everything is accounted for. Same amount of stress, just with better business cards. Now here's something worth sitting with for a second. Comment below which quadrant you just recognized yourself in right now: employee, self-employed, business owner, or investor, and be honest, not aspirational. Then come back to that comment in 6 months and tell me if it's still true. Most people never check back. I'm curious if you will. And if this framework is clicking for you, hit subscribe now, because the second half of this video is where things actually start to shift. Business owner. Picture the person who owns a small chain of gyms or a landscaping company with 15 crews out working while the owner isn't even on site. The business owner doesn't own a job, they own a system. And that system runs with people, not just them. A real business owner could disappear for a year and come back to find the business more profitable than when they left, because they didn't build a job, they built a machine. Listen to how they talk. I need to find someone to run this division. Who can I hire to fix this bottleneck? Notice something? The word I almost never shows up doing the actual work. That's the whole shift. Ask yourself one honest question. If you stopped working tomorrow, would your income stop too? If the answer is yes, you're still in the self-employed box, no matter what your business card says. In our story, this is Bill and his pipeline, and the business owner has a weapon nobody else in the first 2 quadrants has: other people's time. You've got 24 hours in a day. Someone with 15 employees effectively has 15 times that. That's how the right side scales past what one person could ever do alone. Think about the gym owner from earlier. When her father got sick, she flew out for 6 weeks with almost no notice. She checked in maybe twice a week. When she got back, revenue had actually gone up because her manager had quietly fixed a scheduling problem she'd been too busy to notice for a year. That's what a real business gives you, not just money. Room to actually live your life without everything collapsing behind you. Investor. Picture someone who owns a handful of rental units or holds a small stake in 2 or 3 businesses they don't personally run. This person makes money through ownership, not effort. Employees and the self-employed earn through hours. Business owners earn through systems. Investors earn because they own something productive that keeps producing whether they show up or not. Listen to how differently they talk. What's the cash flow on that? What does this actually produce every month? That's a completely different language than, how many hours do I need to work this week? The secret weapon here is other people's resources, using capital that isn't only their own, partnering, pooling, borrowing responsibly against something they already own to acquire more things that generate income. It sounds almost unfair how differently the system treats someone who owns productive assets compared to someone who only trades hours for pay. But that's by design. The world rewards people who take on risk and build things that create jobs and value for others. An employee working 60 hours a week rarely gets that same treatment. Same rules, completely different game, depending on which box you're standing in. Picture 2 neighbors, same street, same size house. One spent a decade putting every spare dollar into a slightly bigger house and a slightly nicer car. The other spent that same decade slowly buying into a couple of small, boring, productive things. A share of a laundromat, part of a storage unit lot. 10 years later, Neighbor 1 has a beautiful driveway and a mortgage payment that still owns him. Neighbor 2 has money showing up whether he's at his desk or asleep. From the street, you'd never guess which one is actually free. So now you've seen the map. But knowing where you want to go isn't the same as actually getting there. Moving from the left side to the right side isn't a small tweak, it's a full rewiring of your habits, your beliefs, and honestly, your identity. Here are the moves that actually get you across. 1. Stop buying liabilities. Lay out 2 lists side by side, yours and whoever you owe money to. Every payment leaving your account each month for something that doesn't pay you back is a piece of your future being handed to someone else. That's the entire game of building wealth. So simple, most people refuse to believe it. You don't need a rental property to start. A small side project that earns you $50 a month is an asset. A skill you can sell is an asset. Start flipping your spending from things that take money from you to things that eventually pay you. 2. Find a mentor. Nobody climbs a mountain they've never seen by just winging it. They find someone who already made it up and ask what to avoid. I wasted years figuring things out the hard way that a single honest conversation could have fixed. Paying someone for their years of hard-earned mistakes isn't an expense. It's the fastest shortcut you'll ever buy. 3. Watch the lifestyle trap. You get a raise, you upgrade your car within the week. Your brain somehow finds 7 new things it apparently can't survive without. Every upgrade to your lifestyle is a dollar that can't go toward your freedom instead. Before your next raise turns into a new car payment, ask yourself if you're making your life better or just making your cage more comfortable. 4. Win the emotional fight. Your mind gets wired to the way you're used to earning money, and when you try to change that pattern, it fights back hard, even when you fully understand why the change makes sense. That resistance isn't a sign you're doing something wrong, it's usually a sign you're doing something right. Notice it, name it, and keep moving anyway. 5. Build systems, not products. Can you make a better burger than a massive fast food chain? Probably. Can you build a better system than one? That's where most people go quiet. Wealth isn't built in the product, it's built in the machine behind it. The training, the process, the thing that runs without you standing over it every single day. 6. Get good with small amounts before you touch big ones. Most people want to skip straight to the exciting stuff, big deals, big partnerships, big moves, before they've ever actually managed their own money well. That's backwards. Learn to handle a small amount of money with discipline first. Make your small mistakes there, where they sting a little but don't wreck you. The person who can't manage a modest amount of their own money responsibly has no business managing anyone else's. Master the small scale, and the bigger opportunities start finding you instead of the other way around. 7. Protect your spare hours like they're the whole game, because they are. Here's the real difference between someone stuck and someone building something. It's not their paycheck, it's what they do with their spare hours. 2 people can work the identical 9 to 5, same office, same pay, same 40 hours a week. One comes home, opens the fridge, scrolls their phone, and goes to bed. The other comes home, spends 20 minutes learning something that moves them a little closer to the right side of this map, sends one email about a small idea, reads a few pages before bed. Neither one feels dramatic in the moment. Fast forward 5 years, same job title, same office, completely different lives. Your job's role is to pay your bills today. It was never going to make you rich. That part was always going to come from what you did in the hours nobody else was tracking but you. If this video actually shifted how you see your own quadrant, do 2 things before you go. Subscribe, because there's a lot more of this coming, and drop 1 word in the comments, the quadrant you're building toward, not the one you're stuck in right now. I read these, and I want to see how many of you are actually ready to move.